One of the most famous expresses is the Royal Scot. Every day, winter and summer, in peace and war, an engine driver and fireman have come to get the engine ready to take the Royal Scot out of Euston at 10 o'clock. The drivers of these crack expresses take great pride in their responsible job, and getting the engine ready is not just an empty phrase. The driver leaves nothing to chance and makes a personal inspection, carefully oiling and checking everything. Ten tons of coal will be used on the run. $150 tons of British steel. The Royal Scot is waiting on platform 13, but the superstitious need have no qualms. She's made the run regularly year after year. About 400 people travel every day on this famous train, and millions must have made the journey since it started. The guard checks final details with the engine driver. All is ready. The smooth, easy departure of a big train requires the synchronization of hundreds of planned and timed events. The station foreman gives the ready to the signal box, and a whole series of signals and points are set electrically for the departure of the Royal Scot. The off lights up to indicate that the road is clear. Traditionally, the station master has the final word, and at 10 o'clock, the hour for right away lights up over the off. The Royal Scot pulls out on the start of its 400-mile journey. To help her up the gradient to Camden, a banker engine pushes from behind. With steam surging at full pressure, the Royal Scot forges up the slope. She gathers speed now and leaves the banker behind. The Scot runs towards the darkness of the first tunnel out of London. That was Kensal Rise. There are 52,000 miles of track in Britain, equivalent to 9 million tons of railway lines, all made of steel. Running at speed, we easily overtake a goods train, the backbone of the railway system. The bumpety-bump, or rhythm of the rails, is caused by the wheels passing over the joints. The rails on the main line are laid in 60-foot lengths, so there are 88 bumps to the mile. From this, the mathematically minded can work out the speed of the train. There's no time to stop to refill the tanks, so she scoops up water from troughs between the rails. The Scot uses something like 20,000 gallons of water on the journey. 75 miles from London, the Scot approaches Kilsby Tunnel. Above us is the house where the gunpowder plot was hatched. Kilsby is the 7th and longest tunnel going north. The Tello-like towers, 120 feet above the track, let the smoke out. The Scot roars out at the other end, nearly a mile and a half further on. Seven miles ahead is Rugby, where the game originated in 1823. For the fifth time since leaving Euston, the Scot picks up more than 1,000 gallons of water. And so to Wigan. The railwayman and his watch are inseparable. Four hours from London is Lancaster Castle with John O'Gorn's Gate. Beyond lies the Lake District and one of the highest railway points in England, Shap's Summit, with a climb of 1 in 75. The powerful locomotive takes this gradient without a banker engine. Over the summit, she makes up time and rolls down to Shap's Station at maximum speed. Few people have had the thrill of riding on the front of an express train at this rate. In the next 10 miles, the line is crossed by 21 bridges on the way to Penrith. By the way, there are 400 bridges between Euston and Carlisle. At Carlisle, engines are changed in winter after the 300-mile run. The waiting engine, the City of Chester, is soon coupled and the Royal Scot pulls out on the second stage of the journey. Then on to the border. The first house in Scotland, and the smithy where horses were shod at leisure and couples married in haste. But the railway crosses the River Sark over the bridge with the Rose of England on one side and the Thistle of Scotland on the other. The signalman watches her flying through at Gretna Junction. The lowlands of Dumfriesshire slowly give way to the grandeur of the Scottish scene as she wends her way north through the steel-making towns of Lanarkshire to the great city and port of Glasgow. Pulling into the central station dead on time, the Royal Scot receives her traditional welcome, for she is, of course, the first train to arrive in Glasgow from London every day. The end of the run, but only for the Royal Scot. The rhythm of the rails will go on all the time, even in the new age of electrification and diesel-powered locomotives. Goods trains will travel in the wake of famous passenger services, bound for cities, towns, and ports at every point on Britain's 52,000 miles of steel railway tracks.